The St. Bonaventure men's basketball team went on a historic run to end their 2022 season. Mark Schmidt led the Bonnies to an incredible 23-10 overall record. After losing their Atlantic 10 quarterfinals matchup against St. Louis 57-56 in a heartbreaking fashion, the Bonnies had qualified for the NIT. This team all year had proven that they could hang with the best teams college basketball had to offer. Early wins against high major schools such as Clemson and Marquette surely prepared the Bonnies for the teams the NIT had in store for them. The first round NIT game was held at the CU Event Center between the Bonnies and the 4th-seeded Colorado Buffaloes. The Bonnies were given just 50 hours notice that they were playing at a site 1,538 miles away and 2 time zones away from home. Not to mention throwing in a legit Pac-12 opponent in the form of a young and rising Colorado squad that finished 4th in the Pac-12 conference to earn hosting rights, and the Bonnies certainly faced what looked like to be an uphill battle to keep their season alive. None of those odds meant anything to the Bonnies once the game got going. The Bonnies dominated the point, scoring 34 points inside the key. They also doubled up the Colorado Buffaloes in the points off turnovers, putting up 14 to just their 7. The biggest difference maker came with the Bonnies shooting an incredible 50% from three-point line, going 10 of 20 on the game from 3, doubling up Colorado in that stat as well. If that wasn't enough, Jalen Attaway, senior guard, led the Bonnies with 17 points. Kyle Lofton had 15, and both Jaron Holmes and Usanini each scored 13 in their own rights. St. Bonaventure, at the end of the game, came away with a 76-68 road win to advance to the second round of the NIT. First, it was a trip on 50 hours' notice across 2 time zones to play a Pac-12 foe in Colorado. The reward for that win? Another 1,200-mile trek across the country to play against the second consecutive Power 5 opponent the Bonnies had faced in the NIT tournament, this time in the form of NIT number 1 seeded Oklahoma. Jaron Holmes, senior guard, turned in one of his finest performances in a Bonaventure uniform with a team-high 23 points on 8 of 12 shooting from the floor. The score was 64-63 in favor of the Bonnies until Lofton calmly sank a 3-ball in front of his own bench, quieting the home crowd of the Oklahoma Sooners. This game came down to the wire, and St. Bonaventure pulled away with a 70-68 win to advance to a quarterfinal matchup with Virginia University. Just over a week removed from the heartbreak at the foul line in the Atlantic 10 tournament, senior Kyle Lofton earned the ultimate redemption by sinking 2 free throws with under 6 seconds to play to give the Bonnies a 52-51 victory over the Virginia Cavaliers out of the ACC Conference. Points came slowly for both sides at the start of this one, as the Cavaliers held a 13-12 edge with 6:38 left in the opening half. The Bonnies finished the first half on a scoring flurry of sorts, heading to the locker room with a 21-17 advantage. Unfortunately for the Bonnies, the Cavaliers would find the mark from deep as well. Armand Franklin electrified the Cavaliers' home crowd with a back-to-back long balls as the hosts pulled ahead 54-5 with just 2:58 remaining. That would be the last field goal for the Virginia Cavaliers on the night. The Bonnies would score 7 of the game's final 8 points to stun the home crowd and come away with that 52-51 victory heading to the semifinals of the NIT. After the quarterfinal win versus the Virginia Cavaliers, the Bonnies had found themselves in the semifinals of the NIT tournament to play against the Xavier Musketeers. With 8,506 tickets sold, tournament officials reported that over 5,000 of those tickets sold came from Bonaventure fans. And after the story the St. Bonaventure team of the 2022 season had written for themselves, you thought that no question they had at least one more run in them. Unfortunately, Xavier had other plans. They came out hot to start the game and got up early by 19 in the first half. The Bonnies cut it down to 15 going into halftime. Sadly, the Xavier Musketeers took down the Bonnies 84-77 in the NIT semifinals. 2022 St. Bonaventure men's basketball team had come to an end inside the Mecca of sports, Madison Square Garden. St. Bonaventure's postseason run will certainly live on in program history. 3 road wins versus Power 5 opponents over a span of 7 days, as the Bonnies became the first mid-major program to accomplish that feat on the way to the NIT Final Four.